I want to be better than the A+. I want to go above and beyond the A+, but not in the way you're probably thinking. I'm not talking about being an A++ student with a 4.5 GPA and perfect SAT and ACT scores. I'm talking about going beyond the A+ in who I am as a person. So that leaves the question, who am I? I've attempted to define this for the past 16 years of my life. We tend to spend our whole lives searching for this answer, and I'm nowhere near knowing who I am, but I have learned a lot about myself recently. I see myself to be a kind-hearted, faith-driven, 16-year-old girl who loves to spend time with her friends and family. While I feel the schooling system sees me as a grade point average, a letter grade, or an SAT or ACT score. I see myself as a combination of these skills, but unfortunately, through my experience in different academic settings, I feel like I've often been measured on my grade point average alone. Up until the 5th grade, I attended the gifted program. I'd always found myself wondering what defined the gifted and the non-gifted students. And I knew that yes, obviously the gifted students tested higher, but how could a school define a group of students as non-gifted? We all have our own gifts and talents, and the Common Core classes that we are required to take is a weak way to define students and label them as non-gifted. In this gifted program, I only had a few close friends. I found myself not relating to the others because of their constant focus on school. I'd always attempted to be well-rounded, and this intensity of schooling in only the 5th grade was just not the right fit for me. Therefore, I decided to attend the non-gifted program for middle school. When I told my teacher this, she began to judge me in class. One day, I asked her a question, and she responds with, "Well, you will not need to know that because you will be in the gifted program, non-gifted program." I was only 11 at this time, but this sparked my view that there is more to a person than what the school systems define us as. Although I departed from the advanced education of the gifted program, I found myself learning from experience in middle school. This made me acquire the idea that as well as an education from books, schools need to have a focus on the education from experience one can receive. I like to define education from experience as the ability to learn from interacting with different types of people and environments. Through education from experience, we can learn the concepts of being people smart, worldly smart, environmentally smart, and street smart. So here I am, an 8th grader who had been in a Montessori program, a public gifted program, a public non-gifted program, wanting to attend an independent Catholic school, Ursuline Academy. As I entered Ursuline, I saw more of the same focus. Grades and test scores were clearly defining students. I felt overwhelmed with the bar being set so high. Not to mention, following in the footsteps of my overachieving cousin, who is extremely athletic and smart. On top of that, my brother had just been named president of Salesianum Student Council. Talk about stressful. Trying to find myself became more and more burdensome. After a challenging freshman year, I had to take a step back and realize what I wanted to make me happy and define the person I wanted to become. And here's what I've decided. Although I will always focus on my education, I'm going to be intentional about not letting other people's standards define who I am. At 16, here's how I plan on defining my success. Through my family and friends, my faith has always been a priority in my life. This has been the foundation of my life and given me hope in even the darkest of moments. For example, when I recently lost my grandfather in the midst of being a teenager, my faith reminded me that everything would be okay and I would see him again one day. This taught me perseverance, the importance of family, and relying on something greater than myself. Throughout my life, I've also always played sports. However, I did not allow that to define me either. Instead, I used it as a source of stress relief while teaching me compromise, teamwork, and time management. Perhaps the most unexpected surprise came this past year when I enrolled in an advanced photography course. Now, if you know my family or me, art would not come to mind when you think of us, so I had very little expectations for this class. Turns out, I fell in love with taking pictures and learned I had a talent that I never thought existed. Photography opened my mind up to people's different perspectives and reminded me the importance of understanding someone's story before judging that perspective. Finally, volunteering with the less fortunate taught me what is really important in life. When I go to the Ronald McDonald House and I see a child struggling to get through the next round of treatment, what I got on a test that day does not seem that important to me. When I see families rallying around another family member undergoing multiple surgeries, a strong family seems so much more important to me than a high grade in a class. Clearly you can see I'm passionate about how I define my personal success, but in order for us to have a healthier mental health culture among teens, there needs to be a change starting from the top down. Starting with colleges, there needs to be more of a focus on the well-rounded student rather than just the ones with the high GPAs and the high SAT scores. In Finland, students have a strong focus on physical education, ethics, second languages, and music, leading to them being more well-rounded. While in America, I feel like these are just an afterthought to the common courses we are required to take. Finland also gives students more breaks in the school day, leading to better mental health and function. In America, I feel that students are swamped by homework each day, as well as participating in extracurricular activities after school. Finland limited homework, giving students the opportunity to learn from experience in the aspects they chose. The United States has room to grow in these aspects to shape a more healthier lifestyle for my generation and beyond. Change can begin with just one person. Teens need to feel empowered to say no to the labels set on them in school. It is okay to be a B student if you know you've tried your best. And it is okay to complement your focus on school with another activity. My hope is that my generation will internalize a more holistic approach to work, recreation, family, and spirituality. I will always strive to do well academically, but more importantly, I will focus on these other aspects to define whether I am a success or not. We should not feel defined by these GPAs, these letter grades, and the SAT and ACT scores, but rather by the person we are and the person that we wish to become. Who I am today from experience is beyond the A+. Thank you.